Saludos y bienvenidos a todos to the PGP podcast. Hey, everybody. Josh Towat, proud principal of Memorial Pathway Academy in Garland, ISD, Garland, USA, ready to rock and roll with you, everybody out there. Thank you for being here today, because you know what? One of the things that is not guaranteed in life is time, and you're sharing some of your time with us today. Yes, if you're watching us live, yes, maybe your team's not in the playoffs, you're here, you're listening to the scores, or maybe your team is in the playoffs and you're like a total PGP guy. Thank you for being here. So if you're watching it on the rebroadcast, please don't forget to like and share the show. It's all about spreading this free PD, this free knowledge, and we need you to like and share it right now. It's only right now. Put like and share it. Go to YouTube, share it. Everybody out there, that whole algorithm. But thank you very much for being here. We really appreciate it. We're on the road to 100. On the road to 100 shows, and this is episode 89, which is a bridge from last week's show where we're promoting a great gift to educators. When I say gift, is a gift of knowledge, the experiences, and we'll have 3 more of the authors on today. Remember that the PGP podcast is part of the Fantastic Four Network. Every Saturday for Super Saturday. Sean Hurt, you want to know about data? It doesn't matter what state, because, you know, like Texas, they do their own thing, and then the rest of the country does their own thing. If you want to know about data, that's your cat right there. He'll break it down for you. He'll do the whole up, down, left, right. He'll show you how to break down the data to make sure that your scholars are successful. And it's that time. It's not too late, but we're about to get assessed in February. You know that. I know that. So if you need that extra help, or you're preparing for next year, preparing your Title I budget, you know it's budget time, principal. And you need to set that money aside, that Title I money, Sean Hurt. If you want to have someone that is part of the cultural change of a campus, someone that moves schools, 3-letter greats in 1 year, our sister from South Carolina, Sheikah Houston, Tammy Taylor, reach them out, the doctors. They're there for you to bring them over to your campus, promoting their brand new book, Amir's Awakening. So check it out. It's a children's book that they promoted a couple of episodes ago. And who is closing off Super Saturday better than El Jefe, Principal Cafele? Don't forget to sign up for his institute in Savannah, Georgia. Is it Savannah, Georgia? I think it's Savannah, Georgia in July. Check it out. But if not, you could catch him every Saturday, part of the Fantastic Four Network on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are closing. We're the last hitter, PGP podcast. So please make sure, if you want to be part of the show, because you know what? You have such valuable experience. I've only been in it 3 years. You have tons of experience. Think about it. 3 years, that means that you got hired right after COVID and you went through the whole chaos. I have 5-6 years of experience. You know what it is before COVID and during COVID and after. All of you have tons of experience. So we need you. It doesn't matter if you're in Maine. It doesn't matter if you're in Florida. It doesn't matter if you're in Alaska. It doesn't matter if you're in Hawaii. It doesn't matter if you're in the 48. We need you, because not only is this a United States show, but it's an international show. We got people from New Zealand here. We got people from Ghana here. We got people from all over the world. And you know what we've noticed, and Dr. Moreno could tell you that, is that we're facing pretty much the same problems, whether it be Ghana, whether it be Georgia. We're facing the same problems out there. And you know what? How we get through this? Learning from each other. Mm-hmm. So please be part of this show. Right now, I need you to tell me on the chat, city and state where you're located, Let's get a little bit more knowledge of our audience, because we have a great network, the Fantastic Four Network, and we have some young lady in the RGV. And you're going to hear that a lot in the PGP podcast, RGV. You know, we're all about acronyms in education. We've got Dr. Mari Moreno. Tell the audience what the RGV is, please. And how are you doing, Mari?
Hey, Josh. How are you? Great. Yes, I am in the RGV, which means Rio Grande Valley. I don't know why they call it a valley. I'm still trying to figure that out. But, you know, it is called the Rio Grande Valley. It is in Texas, south of San Antonio. Many people think like the country ends in San Antonio, and that is completely wrong. There is still lots of territory south of San Antonio. I'm actually in the small city of, well, it's not really small, but of Edinburgh, Texas, which is about 8 miles away from the border to Mexico. And yeah, Josh, I'm doing some consulting work down here this week. And I cannot miss the PGP podcast with you, Josh, because you know what? I absolutely love the show. I love hosting with you. And I love today's topic. I loved last year. I missed last Sunday's podcast with all of the first round of principals. And so I'm super excited to learn more about more authors.
You all need to excuse Dr. Moreno. She's a Houston Texan fan, and they're losing, and they're playing in snow. So her brain is in New England, and she's seeing that her team is losing. So that's why she's stuttering. She normally does not stutter, but we're going to give you a reason, ma'am. That's okay. Don't worry about it.
I'm in shock. I really thought this was going to be the day, that we were going to finally make it to the playoffs and finally make it to the super. You know what, Josh? The Broncos are like on crutches right now. So whoever wins this game today, I think is going to be like.
Well, I'm a Washington fan, so I don't care about your conversation because I have to wait for next year. And that takes us into the next part of the show. Chinchilagua moment, real quick. Adam, in Florida, do you know what Chinchilagua is? No, you don't need that with hummus. Jamie, in Iowa, do you know what Chinchilagua is? No, you don't put that on a corn. I will tell Robert because he knows, hey, Chinchilagua was a Mexican game, Hondureño game also that you play with all your family members. And what you do is you line up against the wall and you yell and you say, Chinchilagua arriba, boy! And you run and boom, you jump on top of your grandma. Then boom, you yell it again, you jump on top of your uncle. Then on top of your cousin. And it's a human pyramid. And it's all fun and games until it all crashes down. It's all fun and games. Well, right now it's fun and games in education because we still are a little bit rested from our Christmas Day vacation. We're starting to get a little bit stressed because those credit card receipts are coming in. But you know what? It's okay. It's still that fun time. So my Chinchilagua moment today is this. Use this time right now to make sure you make deposits in your students' credit cards. What do I mean by that? Take the time right now to call the parents. Positive calls, I can let you know right now. Positive calls take no more than 1 minute and 15 seconds. Mm-hmm. I've done hundreds already as a principal at MPA. I've done hundreds already. And a positive call takes you at the most 1 minute and 15 seconds. And what you're doing is you're putting credit in that credit card with that parent, putting credit in that credit card with that student, because you know what's going to happen in March, that other crazy time, it's going to happen in April again, that crazy time, but it's about us being proactive because you know what? We're not in the science business. We're not in the English business. We're not in the history business. We're in the people business. We're in the student business. And the better connection that we make with them by making those positive phone calls, sending those thank you cards, making that connection with the kids will make sure that in the future, when we need to make a deduction, when we need to take away some of that credit, it'll be okay because there's plenty in there. What do you think there, Mari Moreno?
Josh, my goodness, you're so right. And you know what? Most parents, I can guarantee you, when you pick up that phone and you call, the first thing they're going to say is, what did he or she do? Because we're so used to calling for negative and bad behavior. So flip it around. Talk about some of the positive things that our students are doing because they do good things. They really do. And I promise you that is going to go a long, long way when it comes to those times that you're talking about, Josh, back in March or later on in April. Those kids start acting up and misbehaving. You know what? Those kids are going to need some positive reinforcements. And why not start now?
Right. And you know what? I'll just, before we bring our guests into on the panel, I'll give you anecdotal evidence. You all know, you don't know. I got 3 boys. I got a high schooler, a middle school, and an elementary kid. I got 3 boys. So you could imagine some nonsense, but they know their dad, what he does. They know his business. So I'm not going to mention names or say anything on which one it is. So there was an incident with one of my 3 boys to where he was making wrong choices. Trust me, he got worse consequences with me than at school. But I made sure that I communicated with that educator, hey, if there's an issue, you got to call me.
Yeah.
And I'm here to support you. I'm not that parent that says, not my child. On the contrary, it was my child. They're guilty. There is no innocent until proven guilty. They're guilty. But in the end, when they would call me, I would address it real quick, trust me, very harshly to make sure that they don't make that wrong choice again.
Mhm.
But they would, at that point on, they would only call me for negative. They never would call me when they would see growth, when the kid would turn around their behavior and their choices. They would, the next phone call would be weeks later when it's a negative one.
Yeah.
So I would see the number, and that would obviously, sometimes it takes a while for some of our scholars to change. My son is one of those scholars, and he still made some wrong choices, but that educator would only call me for negative, not those weeks of lack of growth. So now it became for me. When I would see that number, I would do what our parents do for us. Hey, what did he do now? That's why they don't answer. Hey, that's why they don't answer. The
True.
parents don't answer because you're only calling for negative.
Yeah.
Call them for positive. I'm letting you know, when we call at MPA, they're like, okay, good, good, good. They don't, the majority of the calls when we do, don't start off with, what did he do? What did she
Mhm.
do? Because we already established a climate and a culture that when we call, more often than not, it's going to be for positive. So just a food for thought for everybody out there.
Mhm.
And normally what we do is a flashback moment before I bring in everybody. But the flashback moment is from last week when we had Dr. Chris Culver, Dr. Rachel Edoeket, who's will have a Facebook Live tonight. So check her out. Jeremy Brooks and Jennifer Black, who's about to retire. But they are all authors to this awesome book written by 15 principals from across the United States. Right there, we'd like to introduce our awesome panel to the PGP podcast. Moreno, stick.
I am super excited to have you guys tonight. I know it's a Sunday. I'm traumatized right now because the Texans are not winning. But guess what? I'm from Chicago, so I saw on the thread here people are chatting about the Chicago Bears, and so you know what? That's going to be the next one. So excited to have you guys here tonight, you guys. I know everybody wants to know a little bit more about you before we get into the book and talk about your chapter. So, Jamie, we're going to start off with you, okay?
Okay.
Why don't you give the audience a brief background about yourself and talk a little bit about your family, your academic background, and then your current job?
Sure. So my name is Jamie Breda. I live in Iowa. It's really, really cold here. And I know some of you are from Florida, so I'm kind of jealous, or Texas. And yeah, it's snowing here. So so I grew up in Iowa, about 10 minutes from where I actually live right now. And I've really just lived and worked within the same 30-mile radius my whole life. And so it's really small town, South Central Iowa. And because of that, I'm a huge advocate for rural schools, because that's really all I've ever known is rural schools. And so I went to one and actually have taught in rural schools, and now am the principal at the first school where I got my very first teaching job. So I taught there, left for a little bit, did some other teaching and instructional coaching, then went into the principalship, left the principalship after COVID to become a leadership consultant. So that was a unique experience. And that actually was 1 year in Des Moines Public Schools. So that's a very large district. So I did have a year in an urban setting, but I got called right back to Sheraton, Iowa, where I've been the principal for the last 4 years in a K-2 building. I'm also the special ed director for the district too. So I wear lots and lots of hats, but it's perfect for me because my whole life and my whole purpose has been to serve students and specifically those who have been traditionally marginalized. So being able to be in that role of special ed director has been perfect. A lot of work, but very fulfilling work. And then for my personal life, I am engaged to my fiance, John, and I have 3 children. One is in college right now, and then another one, a sophomore in high school, and then my daughter is a 7th grader in middle school here. So, and then he has 3 kids as well. So we have a family of 6 kids altogether.
Wow, what a mixed family. That is beautiful. And we're going to talk about how you found time to write, because, I mean, all of these different hats that you wear and children, and you've been pulled. I mean, We're going to learn more about Jamie in a little bit. So thank you for sharing. We're going to hold off for Robert for just a second because you're the special one on the group today. We're going to have Adam. Adam, talk a little bit about your background, your family, and the roles that you serve, and what are you doing now?
Yeah, it's great to be on here. Great to see everyone. I'm coming to you from Tampa, Florida. So I am in Hillsborough County, which is all of the Tampa Bay area. This is my 27th year in education. So, I've taught elementary, middle, high school, bounced around, wanted to try them all, get the goods and bads. As a principal, I've served at middle school and high school, loved them both. So the only thing I have not done is served as a elementary principal, but maybe Robert can coach me up on that so I can do the hat trick. And I spend a lot of time, my company, Leading Lane, I do consulting, mentoring, online PDs, keynotes. I'll be out in Lake Tahoe in June. We were talking to Robert, the Nevada Association of School Administrators is bringing me out to keynote and take care of a couple workshops. So great times. And my wife's awesome. She owns a daycare here in Brandon, Florida. So she has 50 kids from 4-year-old up to VPK, and
Wow.
and then we have a 12-year-old. Just had her birthday this month. She's in 6th grade, and then we have a 2-year-old that just had her birthday this month, and she's one of my wife's students at her daycare. So it all works out good.
That is amazing. And what is it cold in Florida? I don't think so, right? It's like in the 80s.
Well, at night we're down in the 30s and 40s, but during the day we're up to the 70s. So,
Okay.
there's a 30, 35 degree change from when you go to bed to when you get up.
Yeah, it's kind of like Houston. We have spring, winter, fall, and summer all in the same week sometimes. Awesome. Well, we're going to get to know a little bit more about you, your chapter, and much more to unpack with you, sir. So just give us another minute. This is the man of the hour here because, Robert, you were able to find all of these. Remember, we had our podcast on Sunday, and we got to know some authors there, right? And here we are today. And so now we get to see you and learn a little bit about how all of this got started. But before we do that, again, tell us a brief background on kind of where you've been and your role in education and what do you do now?
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate the time as always. I am not the man of the hour. I'm just a piece of the puzzle. So you're giving me way too much credit. I will never not be humble. That's one of the things. I'm from Washington State, so unfortunately, you're all going to lose to the Seahawks. I just want to let you know now. I moved to Vegas 26 years ago to teach 4th grade, and then just did my entire career here. Taught 4th grade, was an AP for 7 years, and now in my 14th year as principal. So it's been quite a journey, and kind of going along the idea or the things that Jamie was talking about is I'm gonna have a blended family, but I have 5 daughters. Yeah, I know, 5 daughters. Yeah, it's great.
Bless you.
Yeah, they've actually been really, really great. It hasn't been near as bad as it sounded, or as what hasn't been near as bad as we thought it might be back when they were really, really young. But now we're good. My oldest daughter is a sophomore in college at Gonzaga. Second oldest is a freshman at UNR, and then I have a senior, and the twins are sophomores. And then the ones in high school are all on cheer. So it's a busy time. And but it's it's the most rewarding thing ever being a dad. It's just awesome. So with that, it's just I can't say enough, and I'm very blessed to be here and have all that I have.
I'm excited to have you here on the show and looking forward to kind of even learning how you gathered all of these amazing educators because their stories are just fascinating. I mean, I just absolutely love the chapters from last week. So we're going to talk about that later on today. So Josh, what a great group.
All right. Big shout out to our cheerleader, our coach, Dot McKeever Jeter, who's always letting everybody know that the shows are on for the Fantastic Four, our best PR person out there on social media. September Devon Vance, thank you for being here. New principal from New Jersey, Dr. Edwin Garcia. Thank you for being here. Stacy L. Joy, thank you for being here. Central Hicks from Texas, thank you for being here. Jeff Linden, if you have not heard his podcast, check it out. That guy's on fire. Check him out. So real quick, let's get started with you there, Adam. Real quick question number one. What or who got you hooked into education? What or who got you into education? What said, I want to be an educator? And number two, how did you meet Robert?
Oh, great question. So the first one, I had amazing teachers. When I think back to middle school and even high school, my teachers were just amazing. And I knew coming out of high school, I wanted to be an education major, and I was a health and PE major. That's how I got into teaching, but playing sports, coaching, teaching, and then even into college, working on my degree, as Dr. Mann taught me appreciative inquiry, where you go into a school and you look at what's going right and you focus on what's going right and you use that energy to fix what's going wrong. Because I see too often we all go into schools and we look at data and we look at things that are going wrong, and we have 8-hour meetings on things that are going wrong. And it's just such a bummer, such a downer. But if you go about it the other way, always look for one or two things. And that's kind of what got me going. Is I've just always had a great experience, great mentors, and great leaders to guide me. And I wanted to be that. And then to meet Robert, I actually met Robert on your podcast. So that worked out really good, as we connected and he asked me to be in his book, which was an honor. And I'm glad I had a piece in there. And I've asked him to be on one of my Nevada administrator podcasts session coming up. And he's agreed to do that. So we're going to talk a little more about his book and carry on and have him talk to some people across the state of Nevada.
Perfect. That's the definition of iron. Sharpens iron, baby. Just like that. Perfect example of making those connections, those PLNs. Jamie, what or who made you become an educator? What or who? And how did you meet that guy in that other corner?
Yeah, so no one made me become an educator, nothing. I actually just went into teaching because I didn't declare a major. And so I was getting close to graduation and I had no idea what I wanted to do. And so I thought, teaching, that looks fun. And I had tried several other things. So went into it and actually got a teaching job. And, the first few years, I wasn't even sure if I was cut out for it, but it really grew on me. And I started to really feel like it was the path I was supposed to be on. And coming into leadership, and now I just totally see, as I look back, that this was absolutely my purpose and my calling, because of my own past and my own history and the educators that shaped me. And now I'm doing the same thing for so many kids, and that's just amazing. So yeah, nothing actually pushed me into it, but maybe just was God's plan all along to put me in there. So and then I think Robert and I met through social media, probably Instagram, LinkedIn. I think one of us reached out. He reached out to me, and just really grateful for the opportunity to get to know him and be a part of this book.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing. And I agree 100%. And if you don't feel comfortable with what I'm about to say, tough. It is his plan to place us on the path that we're going to be. It is his plan. We are where we're supposed to be doing, because we all were born for a reason. We all have a purpose in life, and he places us where he needs us for our destiny. Thank you for sharing those ideas. El señor Roberto de Nevada.
See,
talk to us.
Yeah, so I kind of going along with it. I was just kind of I've just kind of always known where I was supposed to be or what I was supposed to do. I was a teacher's aide. I've said this before in many podcasts, and even this one. I got to be a teacher's aide when I was a sophomore in high school, and I was placed in a special needs classroom. And I was helping a young man named Sean who was learning something. I don't remember what it was, but I taught him something, and I said, "Give me 5," and he gave me 5. And pretty much when the hands clapped, I knew where my path was going. And so I'm very, very blessed in that way. And then I had a great high school principal, Mr. Butler, that was fun, but held us accountable, did all the things, and I always wanted to be a leader. I've always been a leader. So the two in education, teaching and leading, came together, and here I am, and I'm just blessed to be able to do it. And I think you're right. So many of the people in the book, I mean, I know a few for sure, but people like Jamie that just were like, absolutely, I'll do it, no problem. Or Adam, when I got a hold of him. Josh, same with you. They were the people that are in the book are people that just want to make an impact, and they didn't hesitate when I asked them, and that's what made it fun. I just sent out emails or contacted people I knew that were excellent leaders in schools, and it all came together, and here we are.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing those ideas. Welcome to my sister from South Carolina. We will be together soon breaking bread, young lady. Dr. Shika Houston. See you in a couple of weeks over there in North Carolina, MLSC. Stick. Dr. Moreno.
Awesome. I am just excited about this book. And I think I said that last Sunday. So I'm going to start off with Robert, because Robert, I mean, you were able to spotlight so many passionate leaders who some way, somehow, through their stories, through their whys, through what they're doing in their own little niche, in their own little networks, right? You were able to spotlight them. So I want to know, one, what is your why? What is your why in education? And tell me about kind of how were you able to, and I think you mentioned that already, how you were able to kind of pull some of these principles to help you write these chapters, these little vignettes.
Yeah, so the questions kind of go hand in hand. I feel like, just kind of going back to it, my purpose is just to make an impact. And that's really my goal with anything I do. I don't write the books for the royalties. Anybody that's written a book knows royalties are not huge by any stretch. But I do it to make an impact. And I've just been blessed to be put in a situation where I can do that. And I have the people around me that allowed for that to happen. So when you look at my purpose, yes, number one, I'm a principal at Tyrone Thompson in Las Vegas. But number two, I just feel like we as educators have to work together. Josh, iron sharpens iron. I agree with that. But I think there's just so many things we can learn from everybody around us. And I think I just try to take the things and the gifts that I've been given, the skills that I've been given, and articulate that through writing books, which I'm just blessed to be able to do. With regards to the people that are in it, I've been very blessed to know a lot of people. And then my whole goal really was to get various aspects. I didn't want just all elementary people or just rural people or suburban like I am. And that's one of the reasons, I'm very blessed. Jamie said yes, is because she's very rural and has a whole different perspective than Adam or myself. And then, another friend of mine, Don DeBoer, who's in there, he's a superintendent now, very rural South Dakota, which is very different than Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And the idea was, let's just get different levels of people from different areas with different backgrounds, different strengths, different skills, and let's bring that all together to kind of talk about ways that we can help the profession. But I also wanted to make sure that these were people that were more than, it would be very easy to find someone that just sits in their office on their computer all day. But the people that I looked for were people that, were award winners like these two, or Josh, who just does everything he can possibly do. I really wanted people who were more in so many ways. And I was blessed to have enough people fill out the forum to make it happen.
Robert, I was just so impressed with the stories from the principals from last Sunday that I'm looking forward to hearing about Jamie and Adam's chapters as well. So good job, and kudos to you for bringing all of these people together, because I know that was definitely very hard to wrangle all of these people to get all of their chapters in. So congratulations again. Jamie, can you tell me a little bit about kind of course, you're a passionate leader already because you're in the book, right? You're authored in the book. So talk about your why, your current why, and give me an example.
So I'll kind of echo what Robert said. I think my core value is definitely making an impact and making a difference. And My personality is someone who's just driven and just always pushing for excellence and chasing excellence in, personally and professionally. But when you go back to my deep purpose and really the core of why I do what I do, and when I talked about how I've looked back on my life and realized this is where I'm supposed to be, it's because my why is really 10-year-old me and 5-year-old me and 15-year-old me. I didn't share this in the book, but my story is one of absolute resilience. Growing up in rural Iowa, there's a lot of generational poverty. And, I came from a household where there was some trauma. And because of that, I had a lot of adversity, and so did my siblings. So I know that there were undoubtedly 2 educators in my life who helped pour into me, and now look at where I am. And so a true testimony of the power of educators, where my other siblings, they didn't have those people in their life. So my oldest half sibling died of a drug overdose. My younger sister, she was addicted to meth at the age of 19 and battled drug addiction for many years. And by the grace of God, she is sober and has a wonderful life and a beautiful family and things. But, my brothers, a couple of my brothers, they've battled addiction and mental health issues and different things like that as well. So just to have be in this position, the reason that I have the passion that I do is because I've lived through that adversity. Mm-hmm. And I know firsthand the power of educators. So I just want to spread that message and share that with as many people as I can. So.
Jamie, I mean, your story just, and I know you said you didn't mention it in the book, but just wow. I mean, that just tells everybody, and I hope educators that you guys are listening, how much power do you have? Because that's what happens sometimes. Teachers don't really see kind of what happens years later, and your story just showcases the fact that you had impactful teachers in front of you, and look exactly what happened to you. You're nothing like your family, but your family reminds you of the kids that you serve today. And that's why you work so hard to kind of get them out, because it changed your life. Absolutely. That is amazing.
You're just planting the seeds, and you just don't know which ones will grow, but you can plant them, water them, and hopefully it'll come back in the future and you'll see the impact, but you don't always. So, but it's worth it.
It is totally worth it. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Adam, tell me your why. Why are you, where are you today? And give me an example of kind of your purpose and your why.
I think my why changes every 2 to 3 years. So I'm going to go with my recent why. And when I travel and work with schools and districts, it's to fill vacancies with high quality staff. And I can tell you as a teacher that had vacancies in classrooms to the right and left, and as a principal that comes into school and checks the vacancy list and the absentee list, like, our jobs are hard enough and challenging enough when you have high quality people all over the place trying to reach one goal, let alone 26 vacancies on a campus or 14 people out. So what I did at my most recent school was I found the best people to hire were alumni. And when I had students on my campus, 9th through 12th grade, it was like a 4-year interview to prepare you to graduate and come back right away if you were not going to college, to hire you as a custodian or a bus driver or a secretary. But if your passion was to go to college, then I'd work with you, sub with me on like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, go to school on Tuesday, Thursday, or come work for me in the morning and then at lunch take afternoon classes. But, at the time I left, we had 54 alumni on the campus, and 23 of them were my students that had graduated and came back to fill roles. And then the cool thing was just to come back and be on the staff at that high school. Like, why would you go anywhere else in the world when you can come back and be a staff member where you graduated from? So when I travel around, that's what I try to work with schools and districts with, is not only building their pipeline with high quality people, but using the graduates that are coming out of the system to which you just spent sometimes upwards of 12 years working with them. You know their parents, you know their grandparents, you know them. Why are you preparing them to go somewhere else and not prepare them to come right back to the place they graduated from?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's just amazing. I mean, you're talking about these things, and I'm thinking, wow, I remember hiring my first ex-student when I was a principal. I hired somebody. You just took it to a whole new level when you said 57. I was like, what? Because that is, I mean, I was excited about my one, but I never just even thought about kind of even just growing just a whole group like that. That is amazing. Awesome, awesome. Kudos to you. And I'm excited. And you know what? I never thought about how your why changes every 2-3 years, but you know, sometimes that happens because you're in different roles and different environments. And so absolutely. So thank you for reminding us that we need to check ourselves as well. Josh.
So just remember, everybody, to like and share the show. Like and share the show right now. There's some information coming on around about the show, about the book. So please share it with other people in the network. So I've heard for many years educators saying, you know what, I got a book in me. I've got a book in me. Or I've been told this, X, whatever it is, right? Everybody here obviously has a full-time job. We all have families. And a lot of times people get those T-Rex arms and they don't want to write a book or put their thoughts down at Utopia Education Week for their state or association for administrators because of the aspect of time. So now you wrote a chapter. If not, you're like Robert, who's written like 7,000 books. How did you find time juggling? As it is, we say, oh, as administrators, we're juggling all these things, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then I don't take care of my family, and so I got to juggle them. And now, how do you embed writing to ensure that you keep on pushing forward our beautiful profession, your ideas, your experiences, so that other people can absorb that knowledge and make it their own? Jamie, how did you do it? How did you find time for this?
So I'm in the process of getting my own book published. So I'm writing the edits for my book right now. So some of this work is just it's very cathartic to me, and it's therapeutic to just be able to sit and write. And I love putting content out in the world and sharing ideas. And so it's not like a job or a task. It's more like a hobby or a pastime for me. And so I always have my computer around, and I sit through a lot of my kids' athletic events and a lot of their dance competitions, and I bring my computer with me. So just today during volleyball games, I had my computer out between matches and was typing away. So I just make time, here and there and when I can, and it is a process. So, but you just embed those habits of writing every day if you want to get something big done.
Do you have anything
Jamie,
said
can
in
you share
regards
what your
to a
book is
block of
about?
time? Sorry, Marty.
Go ahead.
Do you have anything like a block of time that you set aside? Do you walk around with your yellow pad, or you use everything on the computer? How do you do that?
No, I just take those moments where I know I'm gonna have some time, and I make sure I have my computer with me. So when I'm flying, I travel a lot, so I'm on a plane, I have my computer. Or when I'm, at these games, I bring my computers to dance competitions. So any free minute, I can just get it out and start typing. And I even I have my notes app on my phone, so I'm just constantly putting notes in my phone. But I don't strategically plan time to write. It just happens. Kind of like scrolling on your phone for Facebook. I get out my computer and write.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. What were you saying, Marty?
I wanted to know if she can share what her book is about.
Yeah, so my book is called Seen, Heard, Valued. It's basically my journey of growing up with trauma and how I then got to be, Principal of the Year and National Distinguished Principal, and just stories that I learned along the way about relationships and helping people feel valued and things like that. So
love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing it.
Welcome to the show, Kenya Roland. Thank you for being here today. Robert.
Yeah,
brother, you're all over social media, man. I try to keep up with you. I can't keep up with you on social media, and you're writing all these books. How do you do it, brother?
I think you got it wrong. I can't keep up with you. I don't know how you how you do everything. I just like kind of like Jamie. When you're traveling and you're sitting at the airport, I'll get an idea and just get on my phone and start it there. You just get ideas. I think you just get ideas, and if it's a passion of yours, like Jamie was saying, it's a hobby of mine. I don't play golf. I don't really do. I just don't have a lot of hobbies. That's kind of sad to hear, but like with 5 kids, you're running all over, so there's not a lot you can do. But for me, my hobby, my passion, again, it comes back to making an impact. And then, more than just principles is really the 3rd book in this series I've been doing. I did more than just teaching and more than just support staff, but I moved on to more than just principles. When you get an idea, for me, I just kind of got to get it out. And then when I can see the picture, it just takes off and it goes. I got a few other ones in the works as well. But again, I don't think it personally for me. I mean, the worst part for me was Jamie just kind of alluded to is editing. I hate that part. But getting the story out is easy for me once I see the path. And like on this one, at the beginning, I talk about being at a conference in Seattle last summer. And I knew what I wanted to do, but I couldn't find a hook at all. You have to get a hook somehow or get people into it. And I was just watching all 2,000 admin walk around the conference, and they're all looking for something. But the question is, what are they looking for? And it just got me thinking, well, what if I could just bring the conference to them? And that's kind of where we went with the conference style in the book. But again, I think once you get an idea, just go for it. People that are afraid, don't be. Because in the end, if you write a piece that's passionate to you and that can make an impact, then it's totally worth your time.
Thank you for sharing those thoughts. Very kind. And welcome to the show, Dr. Rachel Edo-Wickett. She was on last weekend in a couple 7 o'clock. Rachel, is that what you're going to be on for your Facebook Live? Let us know there in the notes. Make sure you check her out. Adam, I don't know. Please tell me. You have other books? Excuse the ignorance. Have you written?
I did.
No. Okay. So how did you, Mr. Consultant, with your guitar? You're being slashed all over the United States. You're doing all these Saturday PDs. Where do you find? And then you have a beautiful family that I saw at NASSP. You're great dad, always smiling with your kiddos. That was such a beautiful sight to see. How do you do it?
Well, when Robert reached out to me, I said absolutely and asked if I could see the questions right away. And what was neat, the questions that he sent me kind of already aligned. I do the 10 8-hour Saturday PDs throughout the year for educators across the whole state of Nevada. So I kind of had an 8-hour PD session already built that kind of matched and aligned with the questions that Robert sent me. So it was really narrowing it down to a focus. So the book wasn't like 800 pages, more like it is now. And then I'm an early riser. So I like to be the first one at school about an hour early. And then I just took about 2 questions a week. What was nice, Robert didn't give me a timeline. He just said, whenever you get to it, but sooner the better, we'll get this thing out to the public. But working in the morning, about an hour a day, 2 questions a week, and taking my content and just kind of chiseling it down and narrowing it down to something Robert could use.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, Rachel, what time is your show going to be on so we could promote it right now? Okay. Well, thank you, everybody, for those ideas, those thoughts. And you know what? They're not the same as last week, Marty. Just thinking about what they said right now, some people like literally set some time, a block of time to do it. So it's what your journey is. It's how you choose it to be. Yet you just got to do it. Do Mr. Nike and just do it. If you got that idea, push it out there. Because like right now, Robert just said something. He said, well, I've said it before on this podcast, that podcast. You always say the same thing because you will always have brand new people listening to it. And even if you've heard it before, that refresher to your dendrites to recharge that past memory. Trust me, I've heard Cafele tons of times. I've sat next to him in his sessions, and sometimes he repeats things, and I forget that he had said that before. I'm like, oh, that's right. So it doesn't matter. Feel comfortable to always reiterate those key points. Stick.
And you're absolutely right, Josh, when you talk about everybody here had something different to say and how they were able to write. Last week, it was all about setting time, like they blocked time, like you said, and no one here said that. So yeah, I'm trying. Like I said, I think I said it last Sunday. I'm trying to write my book now, and I'm working on it. But then I also kind of write for Education Week and other areas, and so it's hard. There's a lot to be, there's a lot of things being pulled. So, guys, this is like the best question ever because it's like my favorite question because I get to finally ask, what is your chapter about? Because I am so curious. I'm very curious to know what is your chapter all about. And I learned so much last week that Jamie, you're gonna tell me, right? You're gonna tell me all about the highlights, just something for the audience to want to hear. So just high level, what is your chapter about?
Oh my goodness. Are they all different? I guess I haven't seen the whole book yet. All the chapters are different?
Not necessarily. I mean, they're all the same, but they're different. And they're all the same in the fact that the questions are pretty similar, but your journeys are all different.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I would say I just talk a lot about like what does it mean to be a principal, and what people think principals do versus what we really do. And I talk a lot about I think the power of reflection and how reflection has played a role in my leadership. I'm constantly just building in habits of reflection, and some of that's journaling, as you can, imagine with all the writing. But I've gone through so much adversity, and I think as principals we continue to face adversity, and so we have to be able to be resilient, be reflective, to grow stronger through adversity. Let's see. I talk a little bit about the status quo, and just that I talked about my drive for excellence, and there's always going to be people like haters that
Yes.
are kind of trying to knock you down, or people that are just okay with the status quo. In my community, we are very established, and there's a lot of traditions, and we're very proud of our small town and our district. But with that pride comes sometimes some resistance to change, because why would we change things? This is the way things have always been done. So I've really had to push the status quo, and just try to get people to see things from that perspective, that all means all, and we might need to do things differently, and whose needs are we not meeting here. So I think my chapter talks a little bit about that, and just really navigating those people that just want to be average. And I don't want to be average. I want to be excellent. So
Absolutely. I love that. Being a principal for 30 years, or in education for 30, being a principal for 20, I can already think of some principals that probably would love to kind of read something like that, a chapter that really kind of supports exactly what you just described, because many of them kind of feel like they're in this rote kind of thing. And how do you kind of break that and do other things and look towards excellence? So I love it. Sometimes we just need to kind of hear people's stories to kind of know how we need to kind of navigate our own. So I love it. I love to hear. I love what you said. And again, can't wait to get my copy. I haven't been home, so hopefully it's in the mail. Adam, tell me a little bit about your chapter. I can't wait to hear.
Yeah, the chapter, the questions bounce around. It's really nice, like we were talking about. I tried to focus on the pieces I've experienced with building a culture and having success. And I'm a big PBIS guy, positive behavioral interventions and supports. And I think we need it at high school just as much as we need it in elementary and middle. In my previous high school, we were one of 19 in the state of Florida, a gold certified PBIS book. I talk about it a little bit of, having expectations that are campus wide in the classrooms, that everyone understands the behavioral expectations to which we're looking for. Because we talk about the academic expectations all the time, but I think we kind of leave on the back burner the behavioral expectations. But not
Yes.
only that, how are we rewarding you for doing exactly what our expectations are? And whether you're coming up with Monopoly money with your mascot on it in a school store that looks like Super Walmart. I mean, our school store, we would have donations from almost every business within
Wow.
10, 15 miles of our place, just stocking the shelves with our mascot and our name, from shirts to water bottles. And we all run out of money, like Josh says, when you take people on PD, but we found fun events. Like, everyone has an awesome drama team or a band, or you could go on and on, but hosting events to earn those bucks to get out of class to go to an event. So the bottom line is making school exciting. Like, you don't want to skip, because wherever you're skipping, they're not having near as much fun as we're having. So you might as well just stay right here, come on time, and be all day. And Josh mentioned about the guitar a few times. That came about because I was always playing music over the intercom in between class changes, trying to make it more like a Kiss concert at
How
school. So
cool is that?
every Wednesday was Rockstar Wednesday. So every staff member would sign up for a Wednesday throughout the year, send me their top 7 songs. And then on the 5-minute bell change, if it was Josh Day, I know he's going to pick 7 Metallica songs. And not everyone on my campus loves Metallica, but you know what? It picks the day up. It makes it more exciting to hear 5 minutes of Metallica between every bell change. And then they get to know Josh a little better from his music talents. And then if next week's Jamie, well, we didn't know, Jamie was into Creed and Candlebox and Nickelback and all that. So it really helped build the culture. And then my staff ended up buying me a Les Paul guitar, because they're like, you play the music and sit in your office all day long. Like, you need to start learning some songs. So that's how I started playing at lunch for the kids and things like that.
How cool. So all of this is written in your chapter?
Not all of that. That's a lot. But I do talk about the expectations in the PBIS system and rewarding kids for doing what you want them to do, because so many times throughout the day, we see everyone doing exactly what they should be doing, but we're too busy to even stop and say, you know what, Robert, thank you for what you're doing, because I noticed that, and that is what I want to see every day. But we're too busy going to that negative piece of, I got to fix this. I got to fix this.
Definitely.
So I don't have time to stop and thank you for doing exactly what I want you to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I'm excited, because you know what? You're absolutely right. We have to look at the positive, and even in high school, I mean, we all need to be focusing on that, because if not, if we're always focusing on that negative, we can never fix that. So change it and start looking at the positive, and then it will eventually kind of become a very positive place. So awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Robert. I know you have tons and tons of stories to tell us about your life, but talk to me a little bit about how, okay, so do you have a chapter of your own in this book? And, does it kind of go through all of the other chapters? Kind of tell us a little bit about you being the author of the book.
Yeah, so I put my chapter last, and I answered the same questions that they did in my own way, just to bring it full circle, right? That was kind of my thought process there. And Adam's hitting on one of the main themes, is that everybody in the book, or really most principals, have an idea that we can all use. And I play music out in front of the school every morning. It's a game changer. It just makes people happy, and just things like that, right? But bringing it back, so my chapter 2, between last week and this week, we've hit on a lot of them, but it also talks about assistant principals or people in leadership positions. Jamie, for example, has never had an AP, but she says, if I had one, this is what I would expect. Everybody else kind of talks about what they expect. personally, from Shauna, who's the AP at Thompson, I expect her to be my 49.99999. Like, we're a team all the time, and we work together on that. And I expect her also to want to learn in order to become a principal, to move it down the road, because my job is to develop her, maybe to take over here or to take over another school. Kind of bringing it back to Jamie and Adam. Jamie, I don't know if you remember saying this, but you said it. It's your quote. I put, everybody has an ad for their own thing. Jamie said, the truth, it's messy, it's relentless, and it's the most rewarding work I could imagine. And she hit that right on the head. It is messy. It is relentless, but it's rewarding. And Adam said, his quote, my goal, which is great. I love Adam's too. My goal is never to silence opposition, but to transform it into engagement. Because when people feel included, they're more likely to become allies in our shared mission. So true. Don't silence the opposition. Understand that this is a messy job and there's going to be good days and bad days. And then I wrap it up, kind of my chapter, I wrap it up. Make an impact. Otherwise, what's the point of your career? So, you just bring all those great pieces of advice together into 15 chapters wrapped around the concept of a conference where everybody's looking for something, and everybody in there can totally help future leaders or leaders now to do a better job in their position.
That's incredible. I'm curious, why 15? Why not 20?
It gets really big.
Okay.
It gets really, really long. And more than just teaching the original where this all started, there's 25 teachers in there, and it gets really, really long. And for better or worse, they kind of start to, get very similar. But 15 just worked out, and that's what we went with.
Awesome. Josh.
So real quick, it's that time to promote books out there that you might need. Panel, you ready to promote something? I'll get to you. Obviously, last two shows, 15 principles right here. A walking PD session just for you. So you ready to become the number one chair right here. 15 sets of ideas for you. Superintendent Glenn Robbins, New Jersey, with Danny Bauer, calming the chaos, the Stoics. It's that time. Hey, testing is coming. Testing security, the cell phones during testing, competitions. You're gonna need some Stoics ideas right here. And he also wrote a second book that has to do with the dark side of education. Yes, people do get blackballed. Yes, as Jamie talked, the haters are out there. They're crabs in our field, whether you like it or not. They'll try to pull you down. And he gives examples of how many famous artists were told they would never be successful. And he proves it and connects it to education. These are great reads, and they're the type of reads that we love in education. Check that out. Sean Kane, Fundamental 5. This is what our campus, this is our game plan and how to educate educators right there. Plan to teach better, Fundamental 5. This is our game plan at my home. And finally, Barbara Bray, Grow Your Why, 23 stories by 23 educators, as you said, Robert. 23 stories, yours truly, number 23. Now, last one of the book. Adam, he has a consulting business. He works big time. So how can they get a hold of you, Adam?
You can go on my website, which is leadinglane.com, as you see behind me. And my email's at adam@leadinglane. But you can also find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and X.
Jamie, you got anything out there you like besides your upcoming book?
Yeah, so you can check me out on Instagram. It's just Jamie Breda. I also have a website, jamiebreda.com. And LinkedIn. So
beautiful. El Señor Roberto.
Yeah, you can find me at www.roberthinchliff.com if you want some consulting on year-long themes for schools, house systems, differentiation, or if you want a keynote on being more than just educators, an inspiring journey that leaves a legacy, then go ahead and reach out.
Gotcha. Beautiful out there. Make sure you get a hold of these guys. Last two questions, panel. Robert, we're going to start with you. Oh, big shout out to the Costa Ajiro past guest from Ghana, a teacher in Ghana, letting us know that his overcrowded classroom is only 150 students per teacher. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. But thank you, Mr. Da Costa, for being here today. Hey, Robert, real quick. This is a two-part question. Question number one is, what event, and this might be an unfair question. I always hear it's an unfair question. Tough. Deal with it. Here we go. What event solidified your understanding and your love for the profession? What connection, what event, what student, what made you know that that's right, baby, I'm right here, woo? And part number two, what other projects do you have in the near future?
So there's one young lady I think of all the time, my second year teaching. Her name was Karen, and she, you start the day, you got the kids in there, you're teaching fourth grade. Of course, you're looking them over, you're trying to see, okay, what do I got? And within about an hour, it was time to go specials. Out in Vegas, the students go to PE, art, music, and library. And I looked over and she was crying. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I made her cry the first hour. What in the wide world did I do? What did I say? So I went over and I get down on my knee and I'm like, Karen, honey, what's going on? What's wrong? And I usually don't tell people, but for you, Josh, I'll tell. I said, what's wrong? And she goes, I know speak English that good. And instantly my heart sunk because I got to thinking about this poor little girl that probably had anxiety coming into class and into school and that night before. And I just looked at her, I said, we're going to be okay, honey. We got this. We got this. And within a semester, she was brilliant. She was, she was able to work for sure. She had all the skills necessary in Spanish. She just did not know English. And we worked together. And by the end of the semester, she had it figured out and she was crushing fourth grade. And the best part is that about 10 years later on Facebook, she put a picture of her and I have it hanging on my wall in my office. And she basically said, thank you for being an amazing teacher. And, you just have to remember moments like that. Like Jamie was saying, they come back eventually, right? But Karen solidifies that I'm here for a purpose. And she's kind of been the catalyst to a lot of things in my career. And then going forward, next projects, I hope to be a part of Brad Johnson's Edufables. And then also More Than Just Assistant Principals is due to be out in mid to late March. I've gathered another 15 amazing assistant principals, and they will have their spotlights shown, talking about all the great things they do. And our goal with that is to prepare all future leaders or assistant principals now to learn from people who are crushing the profession that they're in at that time.
Awesome big picture right there. Jamie, what you got? What was the event, young lady?
So there's a lot of kids I can think of course, but I'm thinking of maybe my 5th or 6th year of teaching. I was in Oscos Elementary. It was rural setting, but the biggest elementary in the state because they combined all their small neighborhood schools into one large school. And so we had lots of kids with pretty significant behavior challenges. And I was a really young teacher and, finding my voice and really trying to live into my values, but timid and quiet. And I was just really tired of going to the teacher's lounge and hearing people talk about kids in a way that was very negative and really judging them for their behaviors before we even got a chance to get to know these kids. Mm-hmm. And so I went to the principal and said, put all of them in my classroom, every kid on a behavior plan. And he thought I was crazy, but we did it. And so I think I had 5 or 6 kids with BIPs, with behavior intervention plans. I had 2 or 3 more that were in check-in, check-out, because we were a PBS school as well. And the principal would frequently come in that year and check on me and say, what do you need? Do you need breaks? And I said, I just need to wear tennis shoes at school because sometimes I'd have to chase kids. I had multiple adults coming in and out. It was just a crazy year. But it was amazing because we created this just classroom culture of empathy and respect. And it was just focused. I had to put some of the academic stuff away just to focus on culture building and relationships and build that relational capacity with the kids and everything. So, but at the end of the year, we ended up having the highest scores and the highest amount of growth, academic growth, of all the eight sections of fifth grade that year. And really just that whole experience and many other experiences just working with kids with challenging behaviors, that just, solidified my why and wanting to go into administration and just make a bigger impact outside my classroom walls. So that's mine. And then, of course, I'm working on my book, Seen, Heard, Valued. Hopefully that'll be out, within the next year or so. And then I'm also doing a lot of putting in call for proposals to speak places and putting a lot of content out on Instagram. So just follow, and hopefully you'll see more of me, and I'll just be able to keep making a great impact.
Make sure you tag us all, okay? That way we could share your stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Adam, ¿qué pasó? What was the event?
Well, the main event had to be my first graduation as a high school principal, and that was still the best feeling I've ever had in my heart and my mind. Is there's like a 12-year build up to that very moment of shaking the hand and giving that diploma and changing the lives. And then after about 2 years of graduating about 500 per class, turning around and seeing all the vacancies, I finally got smart, like we talked, and I was like, why am I preparing them all for the real world to go out and make everyone else happy? Why am I not recruiting them and working with them to come right back here? And I still remember my first hire that was one of my students was Camille. And then my second hire was her husband, Garrett, and they were boyfriend and girlfriend. They were sophomores when I took the school over, but then I hired her sister, and that's like one branch of 28 branches. And it's amazing. You get that one good new hire that was alumni, that was an awesome student, how everyone starts to follow that path and want to connect with what's going on and the movement that you have. So graduation and my first couple alumni hires that led to 20, 30, 40, 50 down the road.
And what are you going to be doing, sir? Continuing growing that empire?
So I have 6 new 8-hour PD online sessions coming up for Nevada, April, May, and June. They're all advertised on the NASA website. They're 8-hour Saturdays. I bring in guest speakers, deliver content, share stories, play rock and roll throughout the whole day. We have a great time. Love to have y'all come join me. And then my next live performance will be out Lake Tahoe for the state conference for Nevada, which I'll finally get to meet Robert in person. But I'll be out there keynoting both days and hanging out. And I'll have the family out there too. So it'd be good to see everybody.
Very cool, very cool. Just to piggyback on what you said, Adam, right now at Memorial, we've got 3 students, former students, that were born in another country. They started at Memorial learning English. 2 of them are actual teachers now, who are now sat in those chairs in that hallway from another country learning English there. They're back, and the other one became our brand new campus secretary. There's a difference, and I concur with that. So, hey, leader out there, if you hire people that walk those hallways, ate in that cafeteria, they bring that extra little more love for the culture that is that learning community. So make sure you make it a point. But then again, they could be a little bit ornery sometimes. But you know what? In the end, because I was in one of those schools, calm down, brother.
Hey, Josh, has anybody on here been the assistant principal for anybody that is now a teacher? I have 2 teachers on staff. I was their AP when they were in 4th grade.
Nice.
Now that'll make you feel like you're old.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I got some assistant principals right now that were in my classroom too. Very, very good. Very good. Thank you for sharing that. And if you have not heard Adam or Robert, I've heard them both at NASSP. Make it a point. If they're on the docket, go to their session, sit at the very front, because you're going to get a lot of nuggets from them and their experiences. Last question, Madi, before we get into the speed round.
Fast, easy question. Robert, I'm going to start off with you because I'm kind of curious what you're going to say to this question. And it's a quick question, you guys. So nothing big and fancy. But real quick, Robert, what do where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I'm working right now to basically backstory. Dr. Brad Johnson came and opened our school year for us a few years ago. And I said, you've got the coolest job on earth. You write books, you fly around, you inspire teachers, you fly home. And so ever since I met him and I co-authored a book, that's been my goal. So my hope is that in 5 years, I basically just fly around, inspire educators, keep writing books, and then fly home back to the family. And that's really that's what I've been working for. I mean, I love being principal, but you have to build that momentum and build that momentum. So I present at a lot of conferences and write books, and then hopefully over time I can, somebody's got to replace all the people that are doing all the things now. So that's my goal.
Absolutely. I get it. Totally get it. Adam, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I hope to be on my boat, which I'm going to title Strictly Business, on the back, and just cruise between Clearwater Beach and Key West, sipping cocktails, listening to Jimmy Buffett, and watching sunset.
I love that. That is pretty cool. And you know what? 5 years is not far away. It's just around the corner. So awesome. Jamie, where do you see yourself in 5 years, my friend?
I just don't know. I love my job. I love it. Love it. Love it. I can't imagine leaving the people and the kids. So I can see myself still being there doing the work, but I also want to do exactly what Robert said. I want to get on airplanes and travel and go spread joy and hope for educators. And I really, really, really want to coach and work with principals, because I've had a lot of mentors who have poured into me. And, if I could help them just find joy in their work and bring back passion into the job, that would be amazing, because there's a lot of leaders out there that are very burnout and they're not able to lead with joy and
there's a lot of new principals and new assistant principals that need mentors and support and guidance. So you know what, the need is there. So I'm excited. I'm excited that that's something that you want to do, because you know what? If you're great at it, why not share it? And that's what Josh talks about all the time. If you know and you feel pretty confident about the work that you're doing, share it. Invite others. Don't be an island. Make sure that you support others and build your PLN, because it's so important to kind of help, and because we don't want principals to be failing out there. We don't want teachers to be failing our kids. So if you know somebody out there, and if you're listening to this podcast right now and you need support and help, reach out to these people. Reach out to them and say, hey, you know what? I heard you on the podcast, and you know what? I also live in Iowa, and maybe you guys can then kind of support one another. Right, Josh?
Exactly. So make sure that you reach out, connect with people, because all of this is free PD for you. And part of that, finishing off, is the lightning round. Now, folks, it's a lightning round. Only question number 2, you could take a while, all right, if you're going to read. But it's a lightning round. If I get too close like this, you're taking too long, because it's the PGP podcast, and G stands for ganas. Ganas is a big monolith word for all Hispanics, every single last one. It doesn't matter you're from Argentina, from Puerto Rico, from Cuba, from Mexico. We all use that same word. It's an inspirational word. It's a generational word that we use to encourage each other. And I want you to right now make sure that you do this. Encourage other educators. Push ahead and drive with a big woo, like Ric Flair does it. So let's get started. Jamie, ladies first, always. Here we go. Here goes the Échale Ganas lightning round. Question number 1. Give advice to a new principal.
Get to know your staff. Takes time to really know them, their strengths, their stories, their challenges before you make any changes.
Read a note, an email, or a text from a parent, a colleague, or student that inspired you with their words.
So I had a text after one of my staff members read my book, and she said, just want to reach out and tell you that I started reading your book. I've cried and felt empowered to be a better educator, and I've only made it through the first few chapters. Seriously amazing work.
Woo! Send some flowers to an active colleague who inspires you.
So I don't get what this means. Just give some positive shout out. Okay, so I have to shout out my instructional coach because I think behind every good leader, you either have an AP or an instructional coach or maybe both. And I could not do my job without Brenda, my instructional coach.
Brenda, what?
Brenda Peterson.
Brenda Peterson. It's on YouTube. It'll be here forever until the meteor hits us. So keep on going back. You're loved. You're appreciated for as long as YouTube is alive. Name one person the audience should follow on social media.
Okay, so I'm going to shout out Tammy Humple. She has the collective_clarity coaching on Instagram, and she just offers clarity leadership coaching. She actually coached me back in the day, and she's fantastic.
What would be your fantasy New Year's Day location on Earth?
It would be in my bed because I love to sleep, and I don't want to stay up to midnight.
Tell the audience that one hit wonder you love to sing.
Bop.
Bop. There you go. Which education movie or education show motivates you?
I have none. I don't watch education movies or shows.
What book changed your life?
Probably this. It's Seeing Beautiful Again. When I went through a divorce and just led through COVID and whatnot, I was facing a lot of heartache and hardships, and this just helped me see the beauty in life.
Who's the author of that?
Lisa Turkist.
Thank you for
Lisa.
sharing.
Lisa.
Perfect. How can people get a hold of you again, young lady?
JamieBreda.com, or follow me on Instagram or LinkedIn, just Jamie Breda.
Adam, out of Florida. Lightning round. Échale ganas, Adam. Give advice to a new principal.
Trust your decision-making process. Someone loved you, raised you, you went through trial and error. Don't hesitate. Go with it.
Read a note, an email, or text from a parent, a colleague, or student that inspired you with their words.
I would say it would be that student I mentioned that was my first alumni hire that said she had such an awesome time in high school that she wanted to come back and be part of it.
Send some flowers to an active colleague who inspires you.
Well, he's not really a flower guy, but I'm going to go with Dr. John Mann at the University of South Florida that just taught me that appreciative inquiry approach to everything, which really helps the stress level.
Name one person the audience should follow on social media.
This is a little different one. I'm not going to go educational here, but Malcolm Gladwell is someone that I like to follow. I think he's got a very unique look at a lot of things that can help us as leaders.
What would be your fantasy New Year's Day location on Earth?
Clearwater Beach. That's why I left Cleveland, Ohio. Came on spring break one time, and I said, these people are much happier here than they are there. And that is where we go, right between Rockaway Grill and the Palm Pavilion at Clearwater Beach.
So true. Been there. I love that place. Tell the audience that one hit wonder you sing.
Oh, I sing them all, but I've been listening to a lot of Creed lately. Creed came around for their reunion tour with Three Doors Down recently. So My Sacrifice and Arms Wide Open and all those have been spinning.
Which education movie or education show motivates you?
Hey, let's go with School of Rock, Jack Black, Rock and Roll and Relationships.
What book changed your life?
I go with Malcolm Gladwell. If you've never read The Tipping Point, it's a reread of mine, but when you take over a campus and you see all the hard work you've been putting finally gets to that point, you're like, that was the moment.
How can people get a hold of you, sir?
Get a hold of me at adam@leadinglane.com or go to my website, which is just leadinglane.com.
Love it. Reach out to that cat right there. He's on fire. El señor, el mero mero, el número uno, Robert. We're finishing off with you, señor. Give advice to a new principal.
Build relationships first. They have to know that you care before they care what you know.
Read a note, an email, or a text from a parent, a colleague, or student that inspired you with their words.
This is from a student. I was actually teaching a NASA class like Adam talked once, and a former student of mine is now a teacher was in there. And part of my whole thing is to give a shout out to a teacher that made an impact. And he emailed me and he said, you were an incredible teacher. You connected with us like you really cared. And all my peers felt so lucky to have you.
Nice. Send some flowers to an active colleague who inspires you.
I'm going to send them to my AP, Shauna Quenneville. She's on all the sites, but she makes this possible just by being 50-50, 49.99, and dealing with me and keeping me under control.
Love it. Name one person the audience should follow on social media.
I like Kevin DeShazo. Keep chopping wood. Just keep chopping wood, people. You'll get there eventually.
what would be your fantasy New Year's Day location on Earth?
With my family in a cabin in the Great Smoky Mountains with snow, but it doesn't snow much there. So something like that.
What is a one-hit wonder you love to sing?
Chumbawamba, I get knocked down. I get up.
Which education movie or education show motivates you?
Lean on Me. Joe Clark is my educational hero. He's a little tougher than I am. But one thing I love about him is when I saw him on Oprah, every time he talked to someone at the end, he said, I believe in you.
What book changed your life, sir?
A few, but the one that's popping in my head for some reason, this is kind of funny, is Stephen King, The Dead Zone. Because I think it kind of led to me looking at things from different perspectives. And that's my whole thing is perspective. And my first educational book it's all about perspective.
Beautiful. And how can people reach you, sir? You're very hard to find on social media. Very hard to find. So how can they get a hold of you?
It's tough. You can catch me on TikTok, X, Instagram, all the things, www.roberthinchliff.com. Or coming up soon, I'll be at the LDA conference, the ESEA conference. And for Canada, I'll be at the U-Lead conference in Banff in April with Dr. Brad Johnson.
Beautiful. Thank you, panel, for being here today. 2 weeks of promoting this awesome book. Thank you, Robert, for bringing all these minds from across the United States here to this platform. And we know that it will inspire other people because remember, folks out there, you choose to be alone. You choose to be. There is no more excuse. This connects you with the whole planet. We've got a person from Ghana watching the show. You have no excuse. You choose to be in a silo. Don't do that because we're all facing the same concerns, the same obstacles, the same joys, the same successes. And we need to hear from each other. We need to hear the stories, the experiences. And you, my friend, you are only one click away from doing that. Don't think about this as a negative way, but in a way to connect with Adam, with Robert, with Jamie, with all of the other guests that we've had here. Because you know what? This is free PD for you. And in education, you Wisconsin, South Dakota, Michigan, you know that we're broke. We ain't got money to go to conferences. We don't got money to take 5 people, a whole English department. That money is gone. We don't got that anymore. But you know what? You could put these podcasts on. You could go to Edutopia, Education Week. We could print out those Ray Hughard. You could get all of those different types of PDs, and the majority of them, if not 99%, are free for you. You're not alone. Don't suffer. Don't be recording TikToks in your car crying of the obstacles that you have. Look at all of these people across the United States that are here for you. So just make sure that you pick it up, dial it, and say, hey, can you help me out, Adam? Hey, Robert, can you help me out? Jamie, I heard about you. You're working in elementary. Can you help me become a better version of myself? And I can tell you, 99% of the people, I'll tell you out of experience, you know how hard it is to book guests? It's very hard to book guests on these podcasts. And you know what? More often than not, educators will say, I will be there for you. And if you reach out to anybody out there, I'll tell you this much, they will be there for you. So thank you for being here today, and join us next week as we get closer to the countdown to 100, our leadership show. Justin McMillan from Colorado, Dr. Alma Gonzalez from Texas, David Gusich, and Shania Ferner for being here next week. Panel, say goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for being here. And don't forget to like and share. Go to YouTube. Like and share, follow click on the little bell. Appreciate you for being here. Have a
Guys,
blessed
don't hang up.